All right, what's going on, people? This is the Corner Store Podcast. This is Rob on the mic. Subscribe, comment, like, and share the content. And with me today, we got a former D1 collegiate athlete, played linebacker for the University of Wisconsin. Welcome, Mr. Reggie Cripps. How you doing, man?
Thank you very much. Thank you. My pleasure to be here. Thank you for having on your show.
Cool, man. Hey, last time you was here, man, we did a long form debate on the whole LeBron and Michael, and it was kind of cool because we actually kind of touched on like so many categories, and
We did, yeah.
like the average debate is only like on the surface level, but we actually delved in deep into it. And
Mhm.
once that debate was done, man, I was literally wiped out. It seemed like I worked 2 hours from like a weather day. I was really beat, man.
Yeah, no, that was good talk, man. It really was. It was a good one.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it.
Oh most definitely, man. So as far as this top five NFL content, here are the categories. We're gonna do quarterbacks that has pure arm talent, dual threat quarterbacks, pure running backs, all purpose running backs, slot receivers, outside receivers, tight ends, special teams, returners, and top five teams. So, and I'm kind of curious to kind of get your take as far as like how I see talent, because since you play football, you kind of see things at like a different vantage point than how I would see it as like a fan. Because I've been watching football since like 1990, so I'm talking literally over 30 years of like just watching football. But
Right.
I'm sure that you see it differently the way I see it. So I'm definitely kind of curious to see what you think of my list.
Yeah. Listen, I'm expecting some craziness. I'm just putting it out there right now. I'm
Oh,
expecting some craziness. But me knowing you are a football fan and a serious fan, I'm thinking our list should be at least 50% the same. At least
at least
50%
50.
the same. Like we should have, yeah, at least it should be. There's gonna be some difference, but I feel like we should be at 50% the same because, in my opinion, the greats, are not debatable.
Oh, right.
If this is a debate, then you're not a great. So that's my stance.
Now,
So
one category that we probably disagree on is probably like top five teams, because we actually kind of touched on that at work, and
yes,
you was like, how come you won't even name like the undefeated Patriots as one of your best teams? Like, hey, they didn't
they win
win
the
the
Super
last
Bowl.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so
And,
that was
and
like
that's
a
one of
little
your
bit of back and
criterion.
forth.
Yes, that was one of your criterion for being on that list. You have to win the final game. That's
Yep.
not necessarily one of mine. So that's what I'm saying. There's going to be differences. That's going to be differences. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, all time great doesn't mean. Well, we'll talk about when we get there when we get to the teams. But
Okay. All right. Well, let's start out with like the less flashy category. So let's start off with the special teams receivers. Special teams receivers. So now, why don't you
or slot
start?
receivers.
No, I'm sorry, special
Oh,
teams
returners.
returners. Yeah.
Returners. Gotcha.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, why don't you go ahead and name your top five? Start with five and work your way up to one, and so I could kind of
Okay.
see where you coming from.
All right. Number 5, I got Desmond Howard.
Oh shit, I got a number five too.
Look at that. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Okay. All right.
Number 4, I have Dante Hall.
Dante Hall. Okay.
Um, hmm Number 3, I have Deion Sanders.
Ooh.
Um, number 2, my cousin Josh Cribbs,
Mm-hmm.
and number 1, Devin Hester. Should be no debate there.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. But for me, I didn't even put Dion as like my top five, but he is as one of my honorable mentions. But mine
mm,
is five Howard, number four Eric Metcalf,
mhm.
Dante Hall, Josh Cribbs, and Devin Hester.
Oh, okay. So basically, Metcalf took the place of Dion for you.
Right, right. And
Yeah. Okay. Air Metcalf. That's not a bad one. My honorable mentions was Cordell Patterson and Brian Mitchell. Um,
okay.
Brian Mitchell was great for a long time. Cordell Patterson is a newer guy. He's not still playing, but I mean, if he continues, he already like tied, the most touchdowns and stuff like that. So his career isn't over yet. And I think if he's gonna go to another team, I think he left the Bears now. So wherever he is next year, if he returns, he's gonna add more to his stats. He's gonna continue. He's not done yet. So I
Right.
think he will be. He's in my honorable mention. He's not a top 5 right now, but I expect him to be one of the best returners ever by the time it's all said and done, just by his sheer numbers, and he runs at least one back a year. And
Okay.
so
Yeah. You know what? I never really considered him, and the reason why I put Dion as like my honorable mention is because he has like the least return yards, but he
yeah,
did rack up touchdowns. He have 9 total, but because Eric Metcalf got 9,200 yards, Dion only got 5,700 yards.
yes, it's a big difference. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
But if you had a return that who would you want back to return the ball if you punt the ball one return to win a game?
Between those two,
Metcalf or Dion? Yes.
I mean, based off name recognition, of course, people gonna say Dion.
I'm not saying name recognition. I'm talking about people. I am asking you, Mr. Robert Lincoln, who would
Okay.
you rather have? Because again, you put Metcalf in your list, so you know Metcalf. You've seen him, and you've also seen Dion. Watch his whole career. Who
Yeah.
would you rather have returning the ball if you had one chance to win a game and run it back?
Yeah. You, you know what? They named him prime time for a reason. So when it comes to something like that, he will rise to the occasion and like get you in. I mean, even though if he won't score you a touchdown, he's gonna put you in a good position for the offense to kind of like have a shortened field. So I would trust
Yes,
Deion Sanders more in that situation. And plus, he played on
exactly.
bad teams. Metcalf played on bad Cleveland
Yes,
Browns teams.
yes,
So yeah,
yes. That goes to effect also why Metcalf he had way more touches. That's why his yards are way better. He had way more returns.
right.
Um, but yeah. So given that is why I would have Dion above Metcalf, just because literally in that order, if you were talking about all time, I want Devin to get the ball first, then I want Josh, then I want Dion. Like that's who I want getting the ball. If I wanted somebody to run back or set me up at the plus 40. You know what I mean for the drive. Like that's who I want to get the ball in that order. So,
Okay.
but yeah, not gonna argue Metcalf, and I'm surprised we got Dante Hall. I thought he was gonna be my sleeper. Um, but yeah, he was exciting to watch too.
Oh
The
yeah,
young people don't know about him, but
the human
he was
joystick.
like one of those first. Man, exactly, the human joystick. And it was he was the Barry Sanders of returning.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
You know,
As far
low,
as the shifting.
yeah, low center of gravity. You know, he was a stocky receiver and he could just stop on a dime and just go,
Right,
switch directions
right.
and it was like no other. So but yeah, he was definitely fun to watch and that was a great Chiefs team during that year too. I believe that was like the '03 Chiefs. And
It was, yeah.
yeah.
It
So
was a fun Chiefs team, yeah. He did it with the Broncos as well.
yeah.
But
Okay.
okay.
All right.
What you think about Brian Mitchell?
Brian Mitchell, he just didn't make my he never even made my honorable mention. So I mean,
Oh, he did make your honorable mentions?
no, he didn't. No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Deion Sanders was the only one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, but yeah, not too many fireworks in this first category. So I guess we're kind of like in the same realm. So, which is pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, like I said, I think we should be about 50%. I'm expecting that because
Oh,
in my opinion, the greats are greats, and there's no debate. So as far as most of the time, we can obviously do a little bit here and there, but I think we should be here. So where do you want to go next?
all right, let's go tight end. Tight end.
Okay,
I will go first.
go ahead.
Number 5, I got Antonio Gates. Number
Okay.
4, I got Jason Witten.
Mhm.
Number 3, this could be controversial, but I got the Grunk. Number 3.
Okay. Okay.
2, I got Shannon Sharp. Number 1, I got Tony Gonzalez. My honorable mentions, I got Greg
Okay.
Olson, Kelsey, and Jimmy Graham.
Okay. I like your list. Mainly because I have the exact same 5.
Really? Same
I have
order?
the exact same 5. No, not the same order. Not the same order.
Okay.
My 5 is Jason Witten.
Okay.
My 4 is Shannon Sharp. My three is Antonio Gates, and I got Gronk at two,
Mm-hmm.
and then Tony Gonzalez. And Tony Gonzalez.
Okay. Well,
Um,
the reason why excuse me, the reason why I ranked Shannon kind of high is because like even back then, it really wasn't a passing league, and like the tight end position really wasn't revolutionized during his heyday. And for him to still rack up over 10,000 yards, 62 touchdowns, 815 receptions, I thought that was a pretty decent showing
yeah,
throughout his whole career. So I had to show him some love. So
no, yeah, I agree. And those Broncos teams, and and I was my favorite team. So I'm definitely not gonna argue with that. I definitely not gonna argue with that. I had the ones I had higher is because Tony Gonzalez, Gronk, Antonio Gates, for a portion of their career, they were the number one target on their team. Shannon Sharp, as great as he was never the number one target. Rod Smith, McCaffrey with the Broncos. He won a Super Bowl with the Ravens. He was there. He wasn't the number one target. You know what I mean? So he was number one tight end, of course, but there Gronk was number one target in New England for years. Tony Gonzalez, number one target, for years on
yeah,
multiple teams and two teams. Antonio Gates, he was almost always number one target, almost. So that's why yeah. So that's why I have those ahead of Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp's skill set. Um, so and then Jason Witten, I have him five because to me the he was just an overall like tight end. You know what I mean? Great hands, great in the middle of the field, great blocker. I
yeah,
mean, right, just across the board, hit the stats. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't scoring most touchdowns or beat you down the middle of the field. But everything you wanted a tight end to do, he did it. Those other guys put up way better numbers.
hmm
So that's why I had him down at five.
okay,
But I mean, you give me any one of those, all of them. I mean, Antonio Gates wasn't the best blocker, um, but all of them, I think in any system will succeed.
yeah. Actually, we're gonna go into like eventually the all-purpose running backs because I mean honestly, he really didn't have to be a good blocker because he had a very elusive running back
Yes,
who's gonna beat
yes,
those guys anyway. So, but
right.
but yeah, as far as Shannon Sharp not being like the number one target, he was still well, his number still comparable with those other guys that you named. I mean, because
Yeah,
Antonio played 16 seasons, Shannon only played 14, and his numbers is pretty much right there with those guys. So which is still pretty good. I mean, as far as with the
yeah.
Ravens, he didn't have a blue chip quarterback. Of course, he played with Elway in Denver. So, and as far as like the wide
Which is a Hall
receivers
of Famer.
there, you had Ed McCaffrey and Rod Smith. As far as like those
Hmm.
first two targets, and then it was Shannon Sharp as far as being like that security blanket for John Elway.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So it goes both ways because he had obviously led because he had Terrell Davis and Ross Smith and Dan McCaffrey, as opposed to Antonio Gates. I mean, he was who had to stop every game.
Hmm.
Um, so he had more attention. I mean, he had less attention than those guys. But the same token, he also still only one ball. So he still, had less opportunities to still do what he did. So it's kind of, you know, he was great regardless because he had to do what he did with less team.
Okay. All right. All right, let's go with the next one, man. Let's go with the outside. I'm sorry, no, the slot receivers. Let's go with the slot receivers. You go in and give me your list. Who's your top five slot?
All right, yeah, I mentioned yours this one because this one was different for me. Um, so I mentioned to see yours.
Okay.
But I'll start off. I have at five. At five, I have Tariq Hill.
You said who?
Tyreek Hill,
Oh,
the
Tariq
current
Hill.
receiver. Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
Now
okay.
Tyreek Hill, I know. I mean, even to me, it seems premature to put him in here.
Yes, it
Um,
is.
so I mean, I feel that as well. But I'll say that just his impact that he's had in the last 4 years, um, his game breakability from the slot receiver, getting 200 yards and a half,
No question.
and how it's just. I feel like he will end up being number one, especially if he stays in Kansas City with Mahomes.
Oh yeah, he got a
I feel like he would
oh,
end up
okay.
being number one slot receiver.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
obviously, he has to continue, but that's why I feel like he's trajectory. So I had to put him on there as 5 because honestly, even the guys ahead of him, if I'm taking one slot receiver, I'm taking Tariq Hill over all of them.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? But he just hasn't had the history to, to promote to be there. So that's why I have him 5.
Yeah, well,
He's
interesting.
premature.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay. So my 4 is Hines Ward. Um, longevity, ability to block, and yet still be having, I think he had 85 touchdowns, maybe, or something like that.
Now,
1,200 yards.
I kind of struggle with Hines Ward because I mean, I really didn't know if I was wanted to put him as a slot or outside guy because he was the number one, just like Tyreek is like the number one for Kansas City, even though he's a slot guy. So I really didn't know how to rate Hines Ward. So yeah,
Yes,
but he actually
I agree.
honorable
But
mentions.
being yes, he was the number one guy. Um, I see him in my mind as a slot receiver at 6 feet, and he ran underneath inside routes and did the blocking inside. So that's why I see him. You're right, especially in a run dominant offense. They didn't have 3 receivers out all the time. But he was the middle of the field guy. So even though maybe even if he was outside, he wasn't running down the field. You know what I mean? He wasn't. You know what I mean? So in my head, that's a slot guy. The guy is going to over routes. The guy that's doing the curls. The guy that's doing slants in the middle.
Okay.
That's kind of a slot guy. The one. They didn't really do bubble screen stuff back then, but I imagine he would be doing those,
Mm-hmm.
like if he was on that team. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of teams didn't have a really slot guy back then. As a matter of fact, most of these, well, all of mine, with the exception, he's the oldest in my list.
Okay.
The rest of them played, in the last 10 years. So 15 years. So as far as a slot. Um, so yeah. So that's 4. 3 is Randall Cobb. 2 is Victor Cruz, and 1 is Wes Welker.
Oh man, our lists are literally different, completely different. But I do got Wes Welker as number one.
Okay.
I got him as number one, but my well, first of all, my honorable mentions are Jordy Nelson, Eric Decker, and Deion Branch.
Jordy Nelson was an outside guy.
Still consider him an inside, a slot guy because when he got drafted by them, they already had Donald Driver and Greg Jennings,
And he didn't play.
but
He wasn't. He didn't play until John Driver left, and then it was Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson. Then Jennings left, and it was just Nelson. And then they got other outside guys. They had Ronald Cobb after that to run inside. Like Cobb played with them, and Cobb was a slot guy. Jordy Nelson was an outside receiver. I mean, 100% outside receiver. I don't know why you have him as a slot.
Well, I mean, Rodgers is so great. I mean, Jordy, he can line up anywhere and he will get that ball. So,
yes,
but
yes.
I would consider him a slot, even though he played like an outside. He got the numbers as like an outside. So,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, he just honorable mention.
Right.
Honorable mention, yeah. So my number 5, I got Wayne Corbett from the Jets. I got Ed McCaffrey from the Broncos, Ricky Pearl from the Rams, Julian Edelman, and Wes Welker.
Okay. I had Julian Edelman on my list as well. I took him out for Hines Ward. Julian Edelman was my Hines. It was like Hines Ward, Julian Edelman. I will mention who was in. And I'm like, if I wanted one, I decided on Hines or Julian Edelman. So no problem with that one. Ricky Pro was a good one. Ed McCaffrey, not a slot guy.
He was a
I
slot
mean,
guy.
no, he wasn't. So again, it's kind of the same thing you're saying with Hines. They didn't run many three receiver sets. But in my estimation, a slot guy, yeah, I don't see Aaron McCaffrey as a slot guy, but I've never once saw him as a slot inside receiver. It doesn't seem right to me. Him and Rob, they didn't have a slot guy. They had Shannon Sharp. You know,
Maybe
they didn't have a slot guy. They had Shannon Sharp. They had two outside receivers and a Shannon Sharp.
you know what?
So
Honestly, maybe it's hard for me to see a white guy as an outside receiver. I mean, they all got to
mm,
be slots.
okay.
Maybe that's just me.
I mean, I was saying you got out of your top five, four of them white. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
I mean,
No,
they
and then
are.
you got a fifth one on a mission. So
I mean, Dion, he's the only black guy, but everybody else is
that's what I'm
white.
saying. That's what I said. Right. I'm saying. Like all of them. I mean, honorable mentions, and then yeah. Deion Branch, I didn't consider him. I'm not gonna argue that, but I wouldn't consider him one of the best slot receivers. He had a good year or two, but
Well,
yeah, I don't consider him one of the best at all.
well, obviously he had a benefit of playing with Tom Brady, and he does has a Super Bowl MVP. But as far as his
He
numbers,
does.
I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
definitely comparable with Corbett, who's my number five. It's comparable with Julian Edelman, who's my number
Yeah.
two. So I mean,
Okay.
he got
So
five rings.
he got the numbers to back it up.
He got the numbers right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Wes Welker. I mean, he also had the benefit of playing with Brady
And
um
Peyton.
and Peyton. But man, he was deadly in the slot. He really was. So I'm glad you having one too here.
I mean,
And then you
unfortunately
didn't
for
mention
him,
Victor Cruz. I
you
think
know what?
for like 6 or 7 years though, Victor Cruz was the best slot receiver in the league. You know
You
what I
know
mean?
what? As far as all of my guys that's on my list, they all played over 10 years.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So
He got hurt. Yes.
yeah, I value longevity. So I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to put him in there, but actually he was in my list like my first draft, and I had to take him out because I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? He only played literally for like maybe 6, 7 years,
That's what I'm saying.
but
Yeah.
he
But
was
I mean,
great
he
though.
was exactly for those years. He was the man. Like,
Yeah,
but yeah, it was short. It was short.
yeah,
I mean, Barry only played 8. You know what I mean?
yeah. But he just a different animal.
Okay. Okay. I mean, just put it
Different
out there.
animal.
Just put it out there.
All
I'll
right.
put it out
Well,
there.
now as far as the outside receivers, now I mean, this is like the one category that I really did like. Like I did not know how to rank people. I mean, I have more honorable mentions that I have top five, but actually, won't you go ahead and start yours?
Okay, I'll start mine. Let me see. I only have one honorable mention, and my honorable mention and my five honestly can kind of swap, um, but I have one honorable mention. That's Julio Jones.
Oh shit!
Um, yeah.
As a matter of fact, Julio is my number one, but he's in your honorable mention.
What?
This would have get controversial.
Oh man, come on. Okay, well, let me tell you about Liz first.
Okay.
Because I mean, all right, so my five was Brandon Marshall.
Okay.
Um, my four is Randy Moss. My three is Terrell Owens.
Okay.
Terrell Owens, I'm sorry. My two is Jerry Rice, and my one is Calvin Johnson.
Okay. Okay. Well, prior to even doing this like category, I should have specified like, hey, we all know that Moss and Rice are like one A, one B.
Okay, okay.
But
So
but
you didn't want them. I know you
right,
didn't want them.
right. I
Okay,
don't want them in now. Right.
okay, all right. Um, so we got Calvin Johnson, T.O., Brandon Marshall, Julio Jones. That's what I got
Okay. All
in
right.
mind.
You know what, man? Like I have so many honorable mentions, and man, this is a hard category, but okay.
Well, start. Don't tell me I missed first. Start at 5, and then we'll
Okay.
move on.
Okay. All right. My number 5
Yeah.
is Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown.
Oh man.
And my number 4 is Andre Johnson. My number 3 is Larry Fitzgerald. My number 2 is Calvin Johnson, and then Julio. Now, fight me on it. I mean, people forget how great Larry Fitzgerald was.
I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like every 6 months I see someone across my feed. He has more tackles than he has dropped passes in his career.
Interesting.
Exactly, as a wide receiver.
Yeah,
As a wide receiver,
17 seasons, and he's still trucking along.
He has more tackles, meaning his quarterback threw a pick and he made the tackle because he didn't play special teams. So it's the quarterback threw a pick and he made the tackle. He has more of those than he has dropped passes. So I never not forgetting his greatness. I mean, we saw his whole career in the drafted. So he's one of those saw his whole career. So I'm not forgetting his greatness. I just think he's better than the guys I have on my list. So T.O.
T.O. I mean, T.O. got some great numbers, but as far as
not just great numbers, I mean, he has great numbers because he was great wherever he was.
Yeah.
I mean, game changing wherever he was.
Okay, so let me give like a caveat to like my list. I mean, like as far as my list, like if I was to like be like an owner of a team, like what 5 guys I would want on my team. See, T.O., as great as he was always a distraction in the locker room. It was just too much drama with him. And then whenever he left the team, he would always badmouth the quarterback. I mean, like at one time he called Jeff Garcia the G word. Now, like imagine someone like him was to say that today. I mean, he'd literally be canceled.
Right.
But back then he was just so reckless. So yes, T.O. was great, but he is one of my honorable mentions. But as far as to me, a top 5, like literally like all time, great locker room guy, great team guy, great production. I mean, all of my guys are literally on the field all the time. I mean, T.O., he was very durable as well. But as far as my guys, I mean, these are no question like A1 personality guys, team guys, everything.
Yeah. A1 personality, team guys, great in the field, no off field stuff, like your boy Antonio Brown.
Well, okay.
Oh yeah, right. Like your boy Antonio Brown, who didn't record his coach's Facebook Live giving a speech. You know what I mean? That guy.
Now, this is the reason why Antonio Brown is my number 5. Now, this guy is 5'10". With the numbers that he has, his ability to like win his matchups day in and day out. I mean, I mean, minus all the crazy stuff. Antonio Brown is the man, as long as his head is straight.
I am not going to argue his talent.
Okay.
But given your reasoning for choosing your top 5, he does not belong in there. Given your reason, somebody that's a distraction, somebody that's all over the place, somebody that's, there was a locker room guy, you know what I mean, all about him. Diva, like that was Antonio Brown to the T.
Well, if he's good enough for the Roonies, if he's good enough for Bob Kraft, and if he's good enough to be Tom Brady's roommate and teammate, of course I want Antonio Brown on my team.
Well, first of all, he's good enough now because nobody else wanted him. So now he's Brady. He didn't make it. He's a fourth option. You know what I mean? Like, what he did last year is not. That's not Antonio Brown. That's a guy that can catch a ball. He's not Antonio Brown right now.
Right.
And so when he was Antonio Brown
prior to leaving Pittsburgh.
Exactly. He was a distraction. Then he left Pittsburgh and then
No, like everything happened to him after he left Pittsburgh.
No,
While he was with the Steelers,
recording Facebook Live was he was recording his coach.
that's small potatoes. I really don't care about that. I don't care about that, but
That's locker room stuff. What do you mean? That's
get it.
taboo. Like stuff that your coach says is supposed to be to your team. He's recording. He's in the background with Facebook Live. That is absolute no. You don't even talk to reporters about what your coach says in that after the moment, after the game type stuff. You don't even talk to people. You don't tell people what happens in there because it's specific only for the team. No mics. It's very. They have a session with NFL cameras come in. They do their talks and stuff, and then they leave. And then they really
yes, that was a boneheaded thing for him to do. I totally get that. I get it. But as far as while he was with Pittsburgh,
he used to get into it with Roethlisberger, and also they get into the drama. Like, oh, come on, man. The reason he left Pittsburgh was because of his drama.
now Big Ben had his issues also. So
yes, but Big Ben's still there.
He was an angel.
Big Ben is still there.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, but you know, Big Ben. I mean, he needs to go as well. So I mean, he
listen. I don't want to argue about Antonio Brown's talent. I'm saying if you don't have T.O. because of his antics, there's no way you should have Antonio Brown there. Because I'm taking T.O. over Antonio Brown 10 days out of 10. 10 days out of 10. I'm taking T.O. over Antonio Brown. So there's no way you should have him there. If your requirements are you have to be a goody two shoes as well as being great.
Well, Brown was that like the whole time at Pittsburgh, like minus that locker room incident. But once he left Pittsburgh and once he went to the Raiders, then that's when all that stuff came out as far as from that woman. But as far as him being only with the Steelers years, he literally had no infractions off the field. I mean, he was pretty much like a freaking like model citizen as far as off the field.
Again,
nothing really came out.
You just can't both say he's good enough for the Crafts and good enough for Brady, and then say I'm talking about before he left Michigan. Like you know what I mean? Like both happened.
I'm saying like you're making that argument as far as like okay, like all this off the field stuff. Yes, that happened after Pittsburgh, but all I was saying is that yes, even though that stuff happened after Pittsburgh, yes, you know, Robert Kraft ended up signing them, and then Tampa Bay signed him, and Tom Brady, he pretty much vouched for this guy. He had his guy stay at his house.
Yeah, because he needs to watch him. He need to babysit him.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. He needs to babysit him because he's not right in the head.
I mean, maybe Brady feels that way because you know, like no one really looked after Hernandez doing his little troubles. But I mean, yes, that's different because he like killed people. But as far as that Brown, he just a loose cannon, and he needs someone to kind of like look over, you know, look out there or whatever. So
yeah, again, if he's a great receiver. You're right. What he did for that stretch in Pittsburgh, just ridiculous, especially given us his size and
size, exactly.
Especially given his size. So absolute great receiver. I mean, I had him on many fantasy teams and won me many leagues.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So absolute great receiver. But again, I'm mainly talking about the reason you don't have T.O. in there is because he was a diva. And I'm like, I thought it was best outside receivers, not best outside receivers that weren't divas, that was goody two shoes, and that that girls can bring home to their mama. I didn't realize that was the category. My headline says outside receivers. That's it. So I didn't know that all that other stuff.
Yes, I stand corrected. Yes, you are right. So, but he is an honorable mention. So,
all right. Go to the rest of our mention. Who else you got in there?
You know what? I got T.O., Marvin Harrison, Chris Carter, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Michael Irvin, Chad Johnson, Brandon Marshall, and Reggie Wayne. I mean, like this category was literally like the hardest.
What's funny, I think if D was here, a lot of your honorable mentions he have in his top 5.
Oh, especially Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, right?
Yep, especially Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, and someone else was that. Yeah, he valued those guys, and we talked about it months ago, just kind of briefly in passing, and he also had Calvin Johnson, number 1. But then he had those guys, Isaac Bruce, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Holt. He had those guys. Brandon Marshall, man, I feel like he's underrated as one of the great receivers. I really do.
You know what? His numbers, he got 970 catches, 12,000 yards, and 83 touchdowns. I mean, with mostly bad quarterbacks.
Yes. I mean, and then Does he still hold the record for most catches and receptions in the game at 22 or 23?
I'm not sure.
I think he does.
As a wide receiver, right?
As a wide receiver, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, period. Nobody's had more catches. I mean, period. Most catches in a game.
You know what?
I believe he still holds the record. I had to look it up, but yeah, he's just been, because again, you know, his off field, or I should say his head issues at times. I really feel like he was underrated as a receiver. Even though his numbers are there, I never hear people talking about him as somebody that could be in the Hall of Fame or even to mention, you know what I mean? Never hear talked about.
You know what? Like doing this prime. I mean, he had issues on and off the field, and being that he's like an advocate for like mental health, so like people are kind of like being more sympathetic for him. So
yeah,
and plus he got his own platform, like the I Am Athlete podcast, which is a great podcast. I mean, those guys are pretty good. Yeah, most reception in the game, 21. Yeah, he still got that record. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
I
mean, I think he just, I mean, he's a big receiver, but yeah, the ability to go inside, outside, throw the ball his way, he's catching it regardless. Again, who's on him.
Yeah, he was just as physical as Hines Ward. Like, you know, if he gets the ball open field, I mean, he's going to hit you as much as they trying to hit him.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep. As great as Andre Johnson was, I don't see him as one of the top 5 receivers of all time. I know he fits your, you know what I mean, goody two shoes, holding him down. Although he did have a fight with Corbin Finnegan on the field.
You know, I was rooting for him too.
I love how your caveats only matter sometimes. It's really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, listen, you can't say nothing about Larry Fitzgerald. Nothing whatsoever.
You know what? Finnegan had it coming, man. I mean, like, for like anybody to like fight him, I mean, Andre Johnson, you know, it actually made sense because they were like division rivals. Andre Johnson fought him, and the NFL did not punish him for it.
doesn't change the fact that he fought him. I mean, would Larry Fitzgerald done that?
I never saw Larry even do a dirty hit. I mean,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So if your criterion is being clean, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm still mad you ain't got T.O. for that. That's really what that boils down to. The T.O. needs to be your top.
I mean, he is on my list, but he's just not top 5. Yeah. All right. I think we got like 2 more. Actually, you know what? We still got to get through the running backs. Yeah. Oh man, these running backs may be controversial also because, you know, as a linebacker, man, your job was literally to go after the running back. Mm-hmm. So you probably got some hefty standards on them. So like, let's start with the pure running back. So we're talking about bell cow, smash mouth, you know, run up the middle. Upon first contact, you still fighting to get 2 or 3 yards, like those type of running backs. So my number 5, I'm going with Frank Gore. Number 4, I got the bus, Jerome Bettis. Number 3, I got Marshawn Lynch. Number 2, Adrian Peterson. And of course, number 1, Barry Sanders.
Okay.
You just look flabbergasted.
I'm stuck on 5. I mean, I'm really stuck on 5. Frank Gore will end up having numbers because he's just been in the league, you know, since I was 2 years old. But his gift is his longevity. Not that he's a great back. You know what I mean? His gift is being a good back for a long time.
Right. He was consistent and he was available. And you know.
But that's a good back.
Right.
For a long time. I mean, I just, you know, in my opinion, you need Emmitt Smith above him. Because that's exactly what Emmitt Smith was. A good back, consistent for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yet it's a reason why he's not in your top 5, even though he's the all-time leading rusher.
I mean, I
It's a
just don't like
reason.
him. I just don't like him. That's why I didn't
Okay.
even.
I believe it's a reason he's not here because he's not in mine either. And
Okay.
it's not, even though he has, again, the most yards ever by a running back ever.
Right.
I don't consider him one of the best. He was just there, was in a great situation in Dallas and did his job. He
Right.
absolutely did his job. He doesn't mean he wasn't the best. He did it for a long time and did it well, but not great, in my opinion. Frank Gore falls in that guy under him. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
I can see
That's
that.
backs that were longevity,
I can see
that was
that.
looking for a long time and was good at what they did. You know what I mean? So that's not
Right.
great to me. So I was stuck on there. The bus. I kind of debated with that, but again, he wouldn't be above the guys I have listed. So I'll say here first, we
Okay.
agree on 1 and 2. Very sound as Asian piece.
Okay.
Agree there. In that order, 1 and 2. So I'm happy you have some kind of sense. So go back to 5. I was my 5 and honorable mention, my 5 and 6. Couldn't decide, and it was Sean Alexander and Marshawn Lynch. Both of those guys, again, great one between. I mean, I think Sean Alexander is one of those guys that you forget how good he was.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
he didn't have the flashes. He didn't, he played in Seattle. I mean, they went to the Super Bowl, but he just didn't really talk. He was just kind of a guy.
yeah, he has an MVP as well, right? Yeah,
He has a rushing title. I think he might get an MVP one year. Yeah.
Yeah, he has a league MVP, and you know what? I couldn't really tell him and Tiki Barber like apart because they look like twins to me.
He's bigger, but you're right.
Right.
You're right. He's bigger than Tiki. But they have a very similar face.
Right.
But yeah, I watched Sean Alexander play in Alabama as well, and just so anyway, I had him and Marshawn Lynch. My number 4 was Edgerrin James.
You know what? He's on my other list as far as all-purpose backs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See,
okay, we'll talk about it.
He's not a bell cow type of running back to me.
Right. So you know what? That's a good point. I didn't mention that. I didn't consider my pure backs bell cows. I consider my pure backs ones that play running back very well.
Okay.
And so that's why a Bettis isn't in there, because you're right, he was a bell cow. But your 1 and 2, those are pure runner that play running back, the best ever in my opinion. Like you 1 and 2. Edgerrin James, I didn't consider him. He wasn't really. You're right. He wasn't a bell cow. But he didn't. I mean, I guess you had to tell me his numbers, because I didn't think he was consider him a receiving back as well, or somebody you can. When we get to all-purpose backs, I'm thinking of the people that you can put in receiver, people that you can go back and catch return if you want, because they can do it all with the ball. You know what I mean? That's all-purpose to me. So, but anyway, so you probably got this guy in your all-purpose too, LaDainian Tomlinson. That's my number 3.
Oh, okay.
I'm hoping you do.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, and you kind of look kind of shocked for a second there. I'm like, wait a minute. So I have Barry 1, AP 2, LT 3, Edgerrin James, and then Marshawn Lynch on my list.
Okay, I like your list though. I like it. So we just got like 2 different criteria as far as how we define like pure running back. Because me, I'm more like the bell cow, smash mouth football. You're thinking of how do they play the position?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I got
exactly.
you. Okay.
Yeah. And so for the all-purpose, I have it encompasses that as well, but you're also able to do everything else. Like again, line up a receiver. If I want you to return, you can do that. Like that's you are literally with the ball. You were a dangerous man with the ball in your hands. You just happen to play running back. You know, that was my all-purpose type thing. I'll start just because I had him at the top as well. LT is also my number one all-purpose back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because again, I think LT, you know, as a pure running back, you want him to just run between the tackles. That's all you want him to do. One of the best ever. If you
As a
want to do
matter of
everything
fact,
else,
as a matter of
you want
fact,
to do
like back
everything else.
then, hey,
Go
back
ahead.
then, they actually did polls as far as who was like the best runner. I'm sorry, best football player back then at LT. He won those like good 3 or 4 year stretch. So yeah,
Yeah, I
I know
believe
how
it.
good he
Yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I believe it. So yeah, I mean, to me, he was like, whether you want him just to be a bell cow, like you said, or whether you want him to do everything else that encompasses running back, he's still the guy, regardless of your offense, regardless of anything you want.
Hmm.
You can plug and play in absolutely any system. Whether Jerome Bettis is your system or whether Marshall Faulk type system, LT can do both, and that's why he's in both my lists.
Okay.
Um,
All right. I got you.
so I go back. I mean, I started with LT, but I go back to the bottom. My number 5 is and this is not a guy we saw play, which is why we didn't see play. I'm sorry, which is why he's 5. Um, Gale Sayers. So, and I would have had him in. We said what we say 90s or what we say 80s.
Well, the
Even later,
criteria
or
was like players that we actually seen live with our own
right?
2 eyes.
Yes, which is why he like I guess I don't mention hopes.
Right.
You know, I wanted to say his name um, because all-purpose backs, in my opinion, is Gale Sayers.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but you're right. That was the criteria. So I go back. My number 5, I think I got is LaShawn McCoy.
Okay.
Number 4 is Curtis Martin.
Oh shit. Damn. Okay.
Number 3 is Matt Forte,
Okay.
and number 2 was Marshall Faulk, and then my number 1 is LT.
Damn. I can't believe that our all purpose is kind of similar. I cannot
Really
believe this. Yeah.
interesting.
I can't believe it. So okay, so as far as my honorable mentions, um I got several actually. I got Arian Foster, Jamal Charles, Le'Veon, Warwick Dunn, Matt Forte, and Tiki Barber.
Okay.
Now my actual list. My number 5, I got Edrin James.
Okay.
Number 4, LaShawn McCoy,
Mm-hmm.
Curtis Martin,
Mm-hmm.
LT, then Marshall Falk. I mean, the reason why I got Falk is because he was a league MVP and he won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he gets the nod as like the number 1, like all purpose. And plus, like that position kind of started kind of like with him because of him being coached by Mike Marks. Because like Mike Marks kind of changed that whole paradigm as how you use running backs.
Yes.
So
Yes. I agree with that.
I would give Marshall Falk the nod on that. So yeah.
Yes. I agree with that. You're right. He's the one that started that, I mean, besides Bill Sayers, he's the one that started that, that trend of basically being a receiver and a back and, a back as well. But in my opinion, I still LT, like I said, did it and do it, in my opinion, better. But yeah, we have a similar list. Matt Forte to make your top 5 then.
He was in there at first, but I had to take him out. I
For
had to
who?
take him out. I took him out for Adrian James because Forte he don't have 10,000 yards yet.
He
Well,
never
well,
got 10,000?
he never got 10,000 rushing yards. So
Yeah.
Adrian got 12,000. Matt Forte got 9,700. And
What about the
Adrian
receiving? What about the
receiving,
receiving?
Matt got him on receiving. He got 554 for 4,600
Mm-hmm.
yards, 21 touchdowns. Adrian 433 for
Yeah.
3,300 yards and 11 touchdowns
Yeah. I
receiving.
mean, he had 100 more catches than, but yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not much arguing. I mean, it's different preference. Again, I got Edge's game is more pure, but yeah, he had more catches than I guess I get credit for.
And plus, like the Bears, they was always playing from behind. So yeah, so of course Matt is going to catch all those passes. And while Adrian playing for Peyton Manning, he's going to get more rushing to like run the clock out. So that's why that disparity is there between those two players.
Yes, yes. Matt Forte, I think, is another guy though that doesn't get the credit as being, as good as he was.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Foster's good. I mentioned. I agree with you being down there. Um, but yeah, I don't think Matt Forte. I think Matt Forte and Aaron Foster, in my opinion, are not in the same category. So I mean, same type player, but Matt Forte was way better in my opinion. So
Um, you know what? I mean, yeah, I could see that, but like back in the day, like 6, 7 years ago, like literally everyone's fantasy football board, like Aaron was going number one,
number
literally
one,
like 2 or 3 year stretch. And
yeah,
Forte, I mean, he was probably like top 5 running backs picked, but Aaron, I mean,
he did have number one.
just a beast. He was just a beast, man. So, but yeah, man, I'm actually shocked that we're actually kind of like a line on all purpose, but as
Not
far as
pure.
like as far as the pure,
Yeah,
it just totally
yeah, completely different.
totally different.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I mean, all purpose. I think the description is in the title. You know, so it makes more sense for us to be similar. All purpose. Pure is determined about your personal, you know, values.
right,
You know,
right.
what does pure mean? So to you, pure means bell cow.
Bell cow, yeah,
You know, to me, pure means the position of running back, what that entails, and how you play that. You know, and what it all encompasses.
okay,
Um, and so, yeah, so yeah, it's yeah, you'd have to be a bell cow, in my opinion. Even though we got one and two the same,
right,
the rest of them. How about Marshawn Lynch? Yeah, so I guess we had three of them. It was just your Frank Gore
yeah.
and Bettis.
Bettis, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes, like Frank, he has longevity. He got 16,000 yard, 16,000 exactly 16,000 yards, and Bettis he got 13,664.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, both of them got the
What number is
longevity.
Bettis? What number is Gore on the list right now, all time?
Um, he should be number 3. I want to say he's number 3. Hold on,
He's
I can
number three
look that up.
behind
He should be.
Barry and Emmett.
Let's see, he should be because he did pass Walter Payton, right?
Let me see. I'm pulling up right now. No, he didn't. No, no, he did. He passed Barry.
Oh,
He
okay,
passed Barry. Yeah. So he is 3. You're right.
okay,
He passed Barry, and now it's Emmett and Walter Payton.
okay. All
But
right.
if he needs 600 or 726 yards to pass Walter.
Mm.
726 yards. So will he get that this year? I don't think so. He probably got to pay 2 more years to get that.
Yeah, and he needs those opportunities. So,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So he got to play 2 more years to get that 700 yards.
Okay.
We got 2 years left. Probably.
You've been doing it up to this point.
Probably, man. It was mainly in a time where we do not value, you know, old backs. You know, the NFL does not value old backs. In a time in this right now, having 18 years and still playing, that is fascinating.
You know what? They're probably hiring him because of his leadership in the locker room, and he's probably like a good company man. I mean, you know, he pretty much knows how to politic his way to these different jobs. So I mean, kudos to him. So I mean, he never been a problem off the field. I mean, he's
Right.
been a model citizen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. All right, so we can get through these last 3 categories. So let's do the arm talented quarterbacks. So I only got one honorable mention, but and this may be controversial, but my honorable mention is Jay Cutler. And my number 5 is Randall Cunningham, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Dan Marino. Like pure arm talent. Now, I remember we was upstairs training and we found out that the Bears got Jay Cutler and how ecstatic we was.
Oh my God.
So put some respect on Jay Cutler's name, man.
Listen, man. Listen. Before you say that, I will tell you that Jay is my number 4.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Okay. I got you. I got you.
Yes. So no, you're right. Arm talent. Um. Okay. So this list, in my opinion, was the one of the most hardest to choose because it's not best quarterbacks.
Right.
You know. So just put it out there. If I'm choosing the best quarterbacks, I'm choosing, Peyton 1, Aaron Rodgers 2, the Marino 3, Steve Young 4. That's my list right for best quarterbacks.
I mean, that was easy though, but
Exactly. That's easy.
in
That's
order
easy.
to dive deep
Arm-
into it,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. So that being said, Aaron Rodgers is not in my arm talented good quarterback.
Are you serious?
He's not. He's not. Not because I don't value his arm talent. Not because I don't value his arm talent.
Oh man.
But to me, again, he's in that best quarterback conversation. Arm talent, listen, I don't have him in there. I'm not gonna argue with being in there because
I
his
can't
arm
believe
talent is
this,
up. Yeah,
man.
I'm not gonna argue with him in there.
You
I'm
know
not
what,
gonna argue
man?
with
This whole show is tainted because you don't have Aaron Rodgers. That's like the best
Oh,
arm talent.
I mean, he is a Green Bay Packer. He is a Green Bay Packer. So
I get it.
you got 2 of them in yours, him and Brett Favre. So I mean, that's really the issue that I'm struggling with right now.
Take the feelings out of it.
You got him and Brett Favre. There is not. I mean, I got one Packer on this whole list, and that's Randall Cobb.
Okay.
He came in. I mean, I remember him. He was the youngest guy in the NFL. Now he was the guy that made me feel like I'm getting old. When Randall Cobb came in because they played game 1, and he was the first NFL player to play that was born in the 90s. And so I'll always remember that about Randall Cobb. He was the first NFL player to play in a game that was born in the 90s, 1990.
As a matter of fact, they played at home against the Saints, and he actually ran a touchdown back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I remember
So that
that.
was a game. That was a game. Oh, good memory.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I don't have any other package on here, including Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Jeez.
But you're right. You're right on their talent. They're on their arm talent. You're right on there. I just don't have them on my list. But you're right on their talent. All right. So I'll go mine. My number 5 is Patty Mahomes. He hasn't played long enough to move up. He eventually will if he continues doing what he's doing.
I get that. Right. I get that.
I mean, he is just his arm talent. You're right. It's just insane. Jay Cutler's my 4. My 3 is Dante Culpepper. Arm talent. So to me, arm talent was arm strength. That's how I interpret arm talent. Was arm strength and the ability to put the ball in, with crazy motion. So that's why Jay Cutler and Patty Mahomes on there. So that's what I think of an arm talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Dante Culpepper, his years, like I said, with Randy Moss and I mean, so his ability to put the ball up there, that ground he had one of the greatest receivers ever. But yeah, his arm talent, I say all the numbers, but his arm talent, in my opinion, is up there as well.
Okay.
Now, it might get a little dicey here. My 2 is Mike Vick.
You know what? Well,
now he's obviously going to be in a dual threat.
I have on like another category, so I didn't want to have like the same name. And okay, gotcha.
So that makes sense. That makes sense to me. That makes sense.
But yeah, he has great arm talent. I mean, he flicks the ball. He don't throw it. He flicks it.
Exactly. Which is why I feel like it would be a travesty to leave him off this category, even though he's not one of the best quarterbacks ever by any stretch.
Right.
But when I think of arm talent, what that means to me, like you said, he just, you know what I mean? And
bullets. Yeah.
Bullets. Which is why, again, Dan Marino is my number 1. He did the same thing. Mm-hmm. And the time he did it again, when receiving, throwing wasn't in fashion. You
As a
know,
matter of fact, what made Moreno so special is because like he didn't put any hips into his passes. It
yeah,
was just purely arm. That was
um,
it. That was
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. And again, that he didn't have all Hall of Fame receivers, and he did it during a time where receivers used to get tackled before they had the ball, and it wasn't a penalty.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so all that. So Marino has mad respect for me as far as his quarterback play and his arm talent.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so Mike Vick, Randall Cunningham, you're right about his arm as well. Probably similar to why I got Dante Culpepper. Because the way he's a fixer all around. But to me, he's in the next category. So um,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Randall. Yeah. He was. Yeah. Definitely a dual threat. But yeah,
yeah,
I had to put him somewhere. So I put
yeah,
him in the
I
arm
got you.
talent
I
category.
got
So
you.
yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
All right. Well, that leads us to the dual threat. So for mine, I got number 5, Donovan McNabb,
Okay.
Steve McNair, Mike Vick, Cam Newton, number 1, Steve Young.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This is the first list where we have 0 in common out of the whole show. This is the first list we have 0 in common.
Okay. All right.
Now we mentioned Randall Cunningham, and you could have had him either one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I mean, say this again. I'm sorry.
McNabb,
Yeah.
McNair, Mike Vick, Cam
Okay.
Newton,
Yeah.
and Steve Young.
Okay. I'm sorry. We have Mike Vick. I was stuck on the bottom. We have Mike Vick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
'Cause I put him in both. Mike Vick, as far as arm talent, his arm. 'Cause when I think of him, of course, we all think about his running ability. But I couldn't leave him out of arm talent because, like you said, the way he just flicked it was, in my opinion, was special. Um, so I have my 5 is Colin Kaepernick. My 4 is Randall Cunningham.
Okay.
My 3 is Russell Wilson.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
My 2 is Lamar Jackson.
I mean, I have no issue with it, but he just need longevity. So
Right. He
yeah.
hasn't done it, but he has an MVP and 1,000-yard, multiple. I mean, running back. No quarterback's ever done that as far as dual threat.
Right.
And then Mike Vick, of course, is my number 1.
Okay.
So McNabb, not gonna, I mean, yes, dual threat quarterback. Steve Young, yes.
Cam Newton. I mean, he has
Cam
an MVP,
Newton, Cam Newton,
Super
yeah,
Bowl appearance. Put
yes,
some respect on
yes.
his name.
You're
Cam
hey.
Newton.
Yes, yes. I'll just say yes. Cam Newton, yes. Yeah, man. I guess it's more dual threat quarterbacks. I guess I realized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're right. I mean, yeah, Cam Newton is great as well. Yeah, I'm surprised you have Russell Wilson in Europe. And Colin Kaepernick, though. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he has,
You know what?
he has
Yeah, Colin is like the most controversial like pick out of both our lists. Like Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick has the most rushing yards as a quarterback in the playoffs. Like what he did that season to their run to the Super Bowl was just phenomenal with his arm and his legs. Like that year they went to the Super Bowl and
And
lost to the Ravens. He was great.
that's when he ran roughshod against the Packers, right? That's how he got most of his
That's
yards.
the game. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking weak ass Green Bay defense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just ran all over him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he had like almost 220 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
And then again, the way he played under Harbaugh, those first few years, I mean, he played great quarterback. Besides his, now granted, it was short lived, so I understand why he's controversial because he only got that short, like 3 or 4 year stint where he was good.
Well, actually, you're
Um,
right. What hurt him was Harbaugh had left, and once he left,
yes,
then like the new coach, he really didn't
right.
didn't
He
want
didn't
he
value him.
didn't
Yeah,
want them here.
yeah. And
So
then
yeah,
he started the kneeling, and then everything just
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that's why um, I guess that makes him controversial. But I'm thinking do with that quarterbacks. I guess like longevity isn't a requirement for me. If I'm thinking somebody that was a thrower of the ball and also ran like crazy, you had to be scared of both their legs and their arm. Like that's he's gonna go out as one of
Well,
the best quarterbacks of all time.
well, Jackson's not accurate. So I mean, yes, he has good speed. He could get his yards rushing, but as far as like him dropping dimes like that
Yeah.
consistently,
No, you're
he
right.
just
You're
don't
right.
do that.
He did.
Yeah,
He didn't do that. Yeah. I mean, he did actually his MVP year. Um,
yeah. To
he was
Mark
pretty accurate his
Andrews,
MVP year.
to Mark Andrews down the middle, down the seam. Yes, he can do that.
Yes, right. No, you're right. I mean, maybe that pick was a little bit, prisoner of the moment. Um, and the fact that he, again, just had 2 years where he ran for 1,000 yards as a quarterback.
Yeah,
But yeah, you're right. He's not accurate right now. So, but neither was Mike Vick. He wasn't the most accurate quarterback either. But
yeah.
his arm, you know what I mean? So,
That's why I don't mind you putting them in arm talent as
yeah,
well. So, but
yeah,
But yeah, I should have put him in arm talent instead of dual threat. But yeah, because obviously his legs is gonna do well.
yeah.
But as far
Yeah,
as
his
being
legs. I
accurate,
mean, yeah. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So again, it's about interpretation. You know,
yeah,
again, it's about interpretation because if you consider dual threat um, like the best of both worlds type thing, which I guess is a good way to do it.
hmm
Like Mike Vick when being there, Lamar Jackson was being there. You think the best of both worlds because they weren't the best at throwing. Um,
yeah.
but
Let's
I'm
see.
still surprised you ain't got Russell Wilson in yours. Like
You know what, man? Because I was kind of like focused like in the '90s and 2000s, and I just feel like Russell, it just like too recent for me. So that's why I was just kind of like thinking like 15
okay,
like 15 years like ago. So
okay, so that's why you got
but
McNabb, Steve Young.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
I
not
mean,
bad.
but
I don't
Wilson
know.
Wilson was a great pick though. I actually like that one.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
okay.
And like I
So
said, Randall Cunningham is, I had down there because he was a runner. He was like one of the first real runners that can throw. That was a dual threat. I mean, he was one of the like with his time in Philly. You know, um, he didn't run as much with Minnesota,
he's
but
just older, but he didn't
right.
have the speed no more.
But yeah, but he also had the arm talent, so you put him in the arm talent. It's kind of like what I do with Michael Vick. We just swap with Michael Vick and Randall
Yeah.
Cunningham. Crazy swap, yeah.
Oh man. All right, now this one may be the most controversial because we was actually going back and forth at work over this topic with the team. So, all right, man, let me go ahead and start off, man. My number 5 is the 97-98 Broncos when they beat the Packers. All right. And I got the 99-2000 Rams when they beat the Titans. I got the 94-95 Cowboys when they beat the Steelers. And Jimmy Johnson wasn't coaching that team. The 04-05 Patriots when they beat the Eagles. And my number one is the 92-93 Cowboys when they beat the Bills because they literally had everything. They had coach, running back, blue chip receivers, blue chip fullback. I mean, fullback position was pretty big back then, and of course they had Novacek as far as tight end. I mean, he was really like a Pro Bowler like that, but he was very serviceable. But literally like the Cowboys, 92-93 Cowboys, they had every single category like in check. So
Best team ever, huh?
best team ever. Yeah. Now, besides the 85 Bears, because remember, like, I really didn't see the 85 Bears because,
Right.
like, I,
Yeah, I
I
didn't
really
either.
didn't know what was going on. I was like 5 years old. So, but as
Yeah.
far as teams that I have seen with my own eyes,
Yes.
it's the
Yes.
92-93
Yes.
Cowboys. So, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we talking about 90s plus.
Yeah.
Basically. Um,
Don't tell me that you got the Bears on there, right?
No. We said 90s plus. No, we said 90s plus. I don't have a Bears on that. You mean the 05, 06 Bears? Or those Bears?
Oh
Those
no,
06,
no, no, no.
those 06, 07 Bears? No. So I'm just, yeah, man. I'm disappointed in your lack of defensive dominant teams. You know what I mean? Again, the reason the 85 Bears, you had to caveat them, even though they were before our, agreed upon timeline, was because their defense was just smothering.
Yeah.
The best defense of all time. So the fact that you don't have, 2000 Ravens, 13 Seahawks or 13 Broncos, like 02 Bucks, the fact you don't have those teams and nowhere near your list is just flabbergasting to me. You know what I mean?
See, like, name though, they are like so flawed. They were just like a like a product of their time because they didn't like play any type of like good opposition. I mean, the 2000s Ravens, they played the freaking Giants. I mean, Giants had no chance.
Giants made the Super Bowl.
I mean, but I mean, that Ravens team was like so flawed. I mean, they had Trent Dilfer as quarterback. I mean, they were just so limited, like a pedestrian offense.
Again, your 85 Bears didn't have a quarterback either.
Yeah, but
they had one guy was their offense.
yeah, I get that, but
so they were flawed too. But yet you had to caveat them because they're considered the best team of all time. And yet if we would have chosen, if we would have went back before we went to the 80s, that would have been the best team you'd have in there.
Well, but in
general, with McMahon as
I get it, but the consensus is that the 85 Bears is like the best team ever. I mean, obviously, I really don't know that.
That's what this is. That's what we're talking about, the best team ever.
Right.
You consider the best team ever with no quarterback. So how can that disqualify the 2000 Ravens? You know what I mean? From meaning your like the dominance they had, like the dominance of that team.
I'm saying even I don't think that the Bears, 85 Bears, are the best team ever. I mean, I don't think that.
Oh, you don't?
I don't think that. Based on like, yes, their defense was awesome, but as far as team, talking about best team, yes, they're the best all-time defense, but as far as best team, like my team's got balance.
My teams are dominant. you don't have a chance to win because we're so dominant. You're terrified and you have no chance to win.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
That was the 85 Bears. That was the 2000 Ravens.
Okay.
You know
name your fifth team, and I could tell you which one of my teams can like beat them.
2000 Ravens.
Okay, 2000 Ravens. Okay.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Tom Brady, the 0405 Patriots would have dominated that Ravens team.
Tom Brady wouldn't have get. Do you remember when Tom Brady gets hit in the playoffs? What happens to him? Do you remember? You've seen him when he gets hit in the playoffs. He becomes like a little. I'm going to be PC on your podcast.
You good.
Tom Brady, like, he crumbles when he gets hit in the playoffs. That team would have destroyed him. And without Tom Brady, that team was nothing.
I'm thinking of, I have the quarterback, I got the coach, and I still got the defense to win that game against the 2000s Ravens. Easy.
I'm thinking the quarterback is being taken out of the game. I give you the coach he likely found a way to not get embarrassed.
Belichick would have outsmarted Brian Billick, and like the Ravens, they were like scoring like less than 20 points a game, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was much less than 20 points a game.
I'm sure Tom Brady would have found the way. I'm confident in Tom Brady.
No. Listen, that team was so dominant, dog. You couldn't score on them. Nobody could score on them. Nobody. Like, again. So my honorable mentions, I got two honorable mentions teams.
Mm-hmm.
And they played each other. Well, yes, they played each other in the Super Bowl.
Who was it?
13 Broncos and 13 Seahawks.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that Broncos team, they're not the one that won the Super Bowl. They won,
Yeah, Peyton had
year
like
two
all
later.
time great season that year. Yeah.
All time great season.
Yeah.
All time great season. And they came against a team that was, again, one of the all time great defenses.
Yeah. You see, like the issue with that game was that yes, the Seahawks defense was like all time great, but it just so happened that while they were so dominant, the freaking offense played lights out throughout the whole game as well. So
yes.
it was just so puzzling. Like Wilson,
Right.
he was dropping dimes everywhere, and
Right.
and guys catching the ball and like in the middle of the field, they making people miss tackles and running for touchdown. I'm like, God damn, man, it's just a slaughter right now.
Yeah, that was a shocking game. It was a shocking game. But yeah, so the Seahawks is it was Broncos then Seahawks above them.
Okay.
I'm gonna mention that. Then I got 2000 Ravens. I got 98 Vikings.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the same Vikings team that lost to the Falcons, that lost to my Broncos team that's on my list.
Yes, they didn't win the Super Bowl. They did not win the Super Bowl. And that Broncos team is higher on my list. That Broncos team that beat them is higher. Is number 2 on my list.
Okay. All right.
Broncos team higher number 2. And then I got 99 Rams in the middle.
Okay. All right.
You had them. And my number 1 team, the only team ever to win 18 straight games in the NFL.
Oh, the 07 Patriots, right?
Nobody has ever done what they've done. Nobody has started a season and won 18 straight games, except for the 07 Patriots. Now, because they lost one, they went 18-1, which a lot of teams was going 18-1. You have them disqualified because they didn't win a championship. Because on that day, the other team beat them.
They should have lost in week 17 against the Giants and then beat them in the Super Bowl. That's what they should have did.
And then they would change their position on the list. See, to me, that doesn't make any sense. Because if they would have lost in week 17 and then won the Super Bowl, or winning in week 17 and then losing the Super Bowl, they still lost one game, and it happened to be against the same. They lost one game that year.
You
like
see,
that's
well,
18-0.
Well,
18-0.
Well, they was going for the record, so that's why everybody played in week 17. So had they
played to win the game, I thought, right?
Huh?
They had a bye. You play to win the game. Why wouldn't they play? If you have a bye secure, absolutely you play.
Right. They was playing to secure the undefeated season, but
I think Belichick plays his guys regardless.
Right, I get it, but had he rested his guys and had they lost that game, then it's actually up to us fans to like contextualize why they lost that week 17 game and they end up winning the Super Bowl. I would have considered probably that an undefeated season had they lost that game with their second, third string players. That's what they should have did.
No. You play to win the game.
I Herm Edwards.
Exactly. Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. Don't pull the LA Clippers, and sit because you want to avoid the Lakers as long as you can. Last game of the year.
Oh, you got to throw that in there.
Don't pull a Kawhi and a Paul George from scary. Yeah, it's not basketball, but you play to win the game.
Yes.
Right. And they happen to lose one, happen to be the last game of the year. It sucks, but again, I don't punish teams for making it to a championship and lose like some people like I know. You make the championship. That is a feat. By losing that game as opposed to losing prior and losing week 17, it doesn't negate what you've done because you lost week 19 as opposed to week 17 or whatever, or week 20, I guess.
See, Reggie, I'm actually all about winners, and one of my favorite quotes from the movie The Rock, Sean Connery and Nick Cage, there was this one scene in which they was trying to like meet up with the rest of the group, and Sean Connery was like, "Hey, are you ready?" And then Nick Cage was like, "Hey, I'll do my best." And Sean Connery was like, "Your best, your best. That's not good enough. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen. Anything else doesn't matter. I'm all about the winners."
I never heard that one. Yes, I listen. I hear you. I'm also all about the winners. They won 18 straight games. If that's not winners, what is? Nobody's ever done it. They've done something that no team has ever done. They went 16 on the regular season, won first two playoff games before they lost the final. No team's ever done that. That's winners. The only team to go through a season perfect. Go through a regular season perfect. No, I mean, I'm sorry. We talking about 90s plus. 72 Dolphins did it. We didn't see them do it. We talking about 90s plus to go perfect. None of those Cowboys teams you had in there were perfect. None of them.
You the only person to seem like to remember those Patriots teams, because I remember the winners, like all the Super Bowl winners. I really don't remember that undefeated Patriots team. I mean, it's literally out of my memory, but you
Come on,
keep
man.
bringing them up.
You come on, man. You don't remember 50 touchdowns. You don't remember 26, 25 receptions. Like records were broken by that team.
Yeah, but since they
By
didn't win,
Peyton Manning.
I mean, since they didn't win, I mean, like the memories is constantly being faded away, and then someone like you would just talk about them out of the blue. So,
Oh my God. Yes, now, listen, this premium on winning the last game as more important than
it's
every other
winning is
game.
everything. Winning is everything.
Yes, winning, not winning one game, winning as a whole. Winning as a whole. You know what I mean? I think this wasn't really part of our list because we did 1 year teams, but I think those 90s Bills teams that went to 4 straight, best team ever as far as a generation. 4 straight Super Bowls. The mental fortitude it takes to be great for 4 straight years, even after you lost the last game, and still not have that mentality. Well, the quit mentality, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna grind again, be right again, and make it back again, and then lose to 3 different teams. They weren't the same teams in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So
that was commendable.
like commendable.
I'm very proud of those guys for doing that. Yeah, I'm proud of those guys. I'm proud of them. I'm proud of them.
Commendable. No, it is epic. It does not happen. It does not happen. You know what I mean? For going to 4 straight Super Bowls, period. You know what I mean? Let alone losing and then again having the fortitude, mental toughness to be able to come back from that. Man, 4 times? Again, they played against different teams. You know what I mean? I think the Cowboys may have beat them twice.
Your Cowboys beat them twice, and they played the Giants and Washington.
Right. So the Cowboys beat them twice, but losing to other teams. So for those 4 years, they were the best team in the NFL.
They was the best team of the AFC. I would give them
in
that.
the NFL. Because again, 2 of those years, the Cowboys didn't make it to the Super Bowl. 2 out of those 4 years, the Cowboys did not make it to the Super Bowl.
Right. It was 2 other separate teams that was the best team in the NFL.
Yes. So for those 4 years as a whole, those 4 years, you take those 4 years and put them in a pie, the best team in the NFL was the Buffalo Bills. And they had no Super Bowls to show for it. You know what I mean? Like,
what a shame. What a shame.
It is actually a shame. It is actually a shame. That was
I see your point though. I see your point, but I mean, I disagree with it. But I mean, you have to win your last game. But yeah, I'm definitely proud of those guys. I mean, they actually did something epic. But at the end of the day, you have to win your last game. I mean, that's how you get remembered. And I mean, prior to us even talking about this subject tonight, I don't know when was the last time I even thought about the Bills. I mean, they never even entered my mind trying to come up with this list.
Yeah, man. So again, so this is the difference between a fan that's watched and somebody that played. That's the
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
That's
See,
the
you
difference
go
right
throw
there.
that trump card out there the last second.
Well, listen. I'm just all coming into fruition. As to why you put so much value on the last game as opposed to the journey there. You know what I mean? Like the journey there, the greatness you have day in, day out, to me makes you great. Especially in a game like football where you have one bad day and you're out. I mean, it's not like basketball where you got 7 games to do it,
Right.
or for baseball, all of the sports pretty much. You have one day, one game, one crazy catch with the hand on the helmet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You lose a game, right? So because of that, the grind of a football season means more to me. So to be great day in and out, like to be dominant day in and day out, to me means more, which is why I put value on the Patriots going undefeated. Because it's a reason it hasn't been done. It's a reason people don't do it. Because they say, oh, we're gonna rest the last game because 1 week rest ain't enough because we got to buy. 1 week rest is not enough. We got to rest 2 weeks. Like what? So the grind to do that, say we're gonna play our last game, take it off, then come back and be ready to do it again.
Right.
The grind of that Buffalo Bills team. I know I'm talking about them, but that to me is serious, and they do not get talked about, not enough at all. They never get talked about because they didn't win,
Yeah,
and that to me is a travesty.
they got Hall of Fame players, Thurman
Yeah,
Thomas, Jim Kelly,
Bruce
Smith,
Bruce Smith, yep.
yeah, Andre Reed.
Uh, Andre, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great team. Yeah, people that makes a great team. But the fact that it didn't win, like you said, it hurts them tremendously. And if they had went to one and lost, it's a lot of teams that done that. But to go to 4 straight Super Bowl, they went to 4. They were at the AFC champion for 4 straight years. Yeah, and they did have an AFC championship trophy for 4 straight years. They didn't win the Super Bowl. But
Yeah, I mean, it actually reminds me of a LeBron James career. Just go to the championship like so many times and lose that many times. So,
oh yeah. LeBron James, the guys your Clippers are trying to avoid. I mean, they're gonna mess around and lose to Dallas now.
you know what, man? Dallas, they just match up so well against them, man. I mean,
Listen,
I just don't
if
know,
they would
man.
have won if they would have won their last game, speaking to my winners, if they would have won their last game, they would have had Portland, whom they are undefeated against since Kawhi and Paul George got there. They've never ever lost to Portland. Regular season, I mean, they haven't lost one. Why would you want Dallas? Why? To avoid LeBron. That's LeBron's greatness. They just completely forgot about the first round
I
and
think
trying to avoid him in the second.
I think it's LeBron and Anthony Davis greatness. I want to just solely put on LeBron James. So, I mean, the man is like 36, 37 years old. I mean, I don't think that they fear LeBron
And yet
James.
they still,
They just
yet they
fear,
still run away. They still run away from him. He's
yeah,
old and decrepit. They still run away.
yeah,
It's just crazy.
yeah. So,
They want to run. Nobody was running away from Jordan at 36, 37.
well, at
But
36,
that's nothing.
he was out of NBA. So,
Like I said, nobody was running away from him. Points. It's not
hey,
my fault he ain't
man.
had longevity. My fault he ain't had longevity.
Well, you know what, man? We could go for hours over this one little subject.
We
But,
definitely can.
hey, man, it's been a pleasure, man. And at like a later date, we can kind of schedule something for the defensive, categories. Actually, I will leave it up to you as far as like naming all the categories, since that's like more your wheelhouse.
I like it. Thank
So
you.
yeah, so send us the categories and like at like a later date, maybe like at least a month from now,
Okay.
and we can actually probably try to schedule it prior to the season starting, because like as far as Monday night, I mean, all bets are off as soon as the season starts because it's Monday Night Football.
Right. It's for my football. Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
so yeah,
For
so
sure.
hopefully we could get like this video in prior to the season started, man. And yeah, I'm definitely kind of see if I can be up to par with picking defensive talents.
Hey, here we go. Here we go. That's what's up. I will say, I am I was pleasantly surprised tonight by your lists.
In a good way or a
I
bad way?
in a good way. I was surprised in a good way. I
Okay.
expected you to be, crazy with your list. I expected something that didn't
Oh,
make sense. So although I knew you was a football fan, I knew you had the knowledge. I am happy that my thought of that was accurate. That that you came for your knowledge. It wasn't some crazy stuff. I say what and even the stuff we differed on, it was mainly because of what we valued in the position.
oh yeah.
As opposed to again, like Frank Gore is kind of crazy, but again, you value longevity, so it's more about what we value. So even though, so yeah, it was definitely a good topic. Um, good stuff. That's what's up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool, man. Thanks. Man, I had a good time, man. Shit, we've been on for like over an hour and a half. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely looking forward to the defensive side of the ball.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man, thanks, man. I appreciate you taking the time out, and hopefully we'll have DeLorean for the next time. And yeah, this is Rob and Reggie, Corner Store Podcast signing out. We'll see y'all later. All right, thanks,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate it. See ya.
Absolutely, man.
All right.